What's up, AfterBuzzers? You are tuning into Season 5, Episode 1 of the Veep Morning After. Stay tuned to see exactly what Selina's up to now.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Veep is finally back. I'm so excited to be here. Just we were talking about earlier, I forget how hilarious this show is.
So funny.
So I'm so happy to be on this panel because we're a fresh new panel for Veep.
I know.
Absolutely. Look at that.
Yeah, so thanks for having us, AfterBuzz. I'm April Whisenhant. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at April Whisenhant. What about y'all?
My name is Nadine Della Pelle, and you can find me at Nadine DP and the number 3.
Hey, everybody. I'm Frank Moran. You can follow me on Twitter at HappyGoJackie.
As always, you can find us all at AfterBuzz TV on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, basically everywhere. So be sure to like and comment. We definitely want to hear what you have to say about the show and what your favorite jokes were, because that is the best part about the show is the one-liners and the jokes. But there are just so many that I'm like, I find myself writing stuff down. I'm like, I'm never going to remember all that they said because it's so freaking hilarious.
And you want to take it all in and just crack up instead of writing it down, too, because it is that funny.
I know. That's just Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
And there's not like a kind bone. I mean, everybody will just tear anybody else apart at a moment's notice.
Yeah. Especially her, especially Selina.
Yeah, she's the leader of that crew, and everyone gets involved in it. They have to, except for Gary. Gary doesn't tear anyone down.
Oh, Gary had one of my favorite moments tonight. So we start off with her talking to America, and she's making this speech about the tie vote. So we end like the next day after last season stopped. So we know that there was a tie vote with the election, and half went to O'Brien and half went to her. And she's like, I'm in barefaced awe of the democracy and whatever. And she says basically like, even though it doesn't matter if you voted for me or not, I'm still your president. And it seemingly, goes off relatively well for a speech for her because her speeches don't normally go off that well.
No.
But you could tell she's still just like pissed that it's a tie election.
Oh yeah, but I love that she like mentioned in that speech though that she won the popular vote.
Oh yeah.
She like had to be like, even though I won the popular vote and I am still your president.
By the way, I did.
Slyly puts that in.
And there's the whole thing like, what if there's a tie in the House of Representatives, because that's who it goes to, since there was a tie with the popular vote, or not with the popular vote, with the Electoral College, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah, you got it.
I know.
You got it, April.
Like, right? Is
yes.
Right?
High school, right?
She's like, there's no way I'll ever be the Veep for Tom James.
Oh, yeah.
Even though I feel like that's where they're going to end up going with it, because I just think it would be hilarious.
I mean, the title of the show is Veep.
Exactly.
So maybe.
So they have to. But Catherine walks in while she's like saying all of this terrible stuff. And poor little Catherine, she's just so always out of place in this, but she's saying she's like filming for her thesis, and it's like the worst possible moment that she could be walking in. She's talking about her candidate in such a terrible way.
The relationship between Catherine and her mom and Selina is just like, it is so uncomfortable. And just she thinks so little of her daughter at points. Like, what's with your hair? What's with your hair?
Yeah. She's like, she says later to Ben, like, oh, don't worry. The only thing she's ever finished is like a cream pie or something.
Yeah, an ice cream cake. There's an ice cream cake.
Ice cream cake.
Yeah. I'm like, oh.
I know, it was kind of like dumb, but I love when Ben said, he's like, oh, emergency in Yemen.
Yeah.
And she's like, if life gives you Yemen, you make Yemenade.
Yemenade.
Even like a dumb line like that, Julia Louis-Dreyfus can make hilarious.
The way she delivers it
is
just so funny. Yeah, because she's looking at him and she's like winking, like, yeah, give her full access. Like, winking, not going to happen.
Exactly.
And then throws that little one-liner in there. And her daughter, like, is Catherine just like immune to it now? Or like, does she know her mom is like patronizing her? Or does she really, like, I don't know.
I think she just like halfway ignores it because she's like, ugh, whatever. She's never going to stop doing it anyway.
Yeah.
Which of course she won't. But also I think she like wants to be legitimate because, we see her like throughout the episode filming everyone, probably at not some good. Ooh, I feel like that can eventually like come back to bite them.
That was my prediction.
Absolutely, yeah. That's coming back. You know it's going to come back.
Oh, yeah. Well, and it's, of course, like Catherine would be the one to have something that leaks for
accidentally,
them.
Yeah. Gary does it, or I don't know.
I know. So she has this, one of the big things about the debate, or not the debate, when she's making the speech is she has this huge pimple on her face, which like I'm sure we can all relate to. That's happened at some point in our life, and it's like the more you mess with it, the bigger it gets. So like, of course, Gary is there trying to offer all of these remedies to fix it.
Have you ever used like different like home remedies or like kind of alternative
Oh
remedies?
heck yeah! I tried like baking soda one time,
Really?
and it like burned my face off.
Oh
pretty
gosh.
much. Yeah.
I just use those 3-step process that like,
What's
you know,
that?
like the proactive type stuff. But there's like, I
okay.
use like the generic kind, I don't know.
But if you need it like immediately,
oh, this happened. Or rubbing alcohol.
ooh, ouch.
It's not immediately, but you sleep with it.
Yeah.
And you really just dry that sucker out.
Well, Gary has a nice little like chickpea formula that he got
Yeah.
from Savannah.
And I love that she's like, that's just making me hungry. And it was making me hungry too. I was
know.
like, I want that.
I had a friend in high school who fell asleep with a Stridex pad on his face. And he came to school. I really didn't like the guy. I shouldn't say friend. The guy
So you're
really
like,
didn't like that much. But he came to school and he had just like, it had kind of just like chemically burned into his skin, like the texture pad and the Stridex pad. I enjoyed that so much that day.
Could you
It was
like
such
see
a-
the texture?
Yes. Oh,
You had
I
a
loved
pimple,
it.
ha.
Oh gosh.
But of course, he's trying to do whatever he can to help her.
A lot of heat. A lot of heat.
A lot of heat, which apparently is not the thing to do. So I learned something
Cold,
tonight.
cold. Yeah, I didn't know that
compresses,
either, actually.
Not hot. I guess
Yeah.
that makes sense because hot would like spread it. I don't know. But the pimple is a huge part of tonight's episode. Even later,
Yes.
she's like doing a speech about something. I forget. I'll get to it later. But and her hair like gets stuck in the pimple, and everyone's freaking out, and she's like trying to blow it off. But that's part of being a female.
And
right? You
every
gotta deal
speech
with it.
she has, though, like you said prior, always there's something wrong with it. Like
I
that,
know.
like that speech inevitably was the pimple. And I love that the pimple also has its own Twitter now.
With more
Yes.
Twitter followers than her, and they titled it POTUS, Pimple of the United States.
So funny.
She's like, how many Twitter followers do I have? He's like, oh, almost that, because
Yeah.
the thing has over 200,000 Twitter followers or
And
something.
your pimple is literally bigger than you.
Nice. So Amy is here, and she's just there, like, helping out.
Yeah. Are you back? Are you back?
Yeah. Are y'all surprised to see her there, or just...
Well, I think in the last episode of last season, you saw that she couldn't. She literally left the panel that she was on
Yeah.
national television to go be with them. So she has this connection with Selena. She has to be there, you know. She's
Yeah.
like helped her with everything. So I'm not surprised.
And
that she's back.
Selena knows, though, because we see that Nevada comes back, and it's like a half of a percentage that O'Brien won, so now there could be a recount. And she's like, she's not taunting Amy, but Amy's like, oh, I can't do it. I definitely can't go to do y'all say Nevada or Nevada, by the way?
That was a big
huge
thing.
debate
Yes.
tonight. I think I say Nevada.
Nevada.
I think I said
Nevada.
Nevada.
Because
Nevada.
I'm thinking like Las Vegas, Nevada. I don't know what I say, but
Yeah.
that was a huge debate. And
It was so funny.
Nevada, Nevada.
There was a whole scene where everyone's just saying Nevada because we had the captions on when we were watching it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was just seeing how many times Nevada was popping up because I was hearing it, but I also was seeing it. I was like, wow, this is a great Nevada scene.
I need to like Google what they say, like what the governor of Nevada says.
Nevada.
Like if he, what
that's
he
the
calls it. And then
proper
I'm
way to
sure
do
that's
it.
correct. Yes. But so she's like, oh, I can't go, thinking that Selena is going to ask her, but then she's like, oh no, we have this other girl, Candy, that's going to be a great, what do you think of her? And Amy's like, oh, well, she's great, Harvard Law Review and whatever. But then whenever Selena actually ends up interviewing her, Amy interrupts and Candy is out, and Amy is going to go to Nevada Vada.
Because I do like that. It's like Candy with an I,
Yeah.
Amy with a Y, like it's supposed to be.
Right.
Like,
That
She's
was a
such
great
like
joke
a-
in there.
I don't know. She likes nobody.
Do you think that Selena like planned that though? That like Selena was just trying to get her to come, and like would she really hire Candy with an eye with pink hair?
I don't think
to
so.
she knew how to
be
push
her-
Amy's buttons.
Yeah,
for
so
sure.
I think that's what she did.
to make her feel like not wanted in order to come
Yeah.
back.
Because
actually come
especially
back.
when she entered the room, she was like, "We're in the middle of a great interview with a really qualified candidate."
Right.
And it was just like, "Come on, it's so BS." Selena.
Right.
Like,
She's like, what? And of course she ends up being hired.
yeah.
So our boy Gary, of course, we find out tonight he's gonna adopt a Chinese baby.
Not Mike,
Gary,
Mike.
Sorry, I had Gary written right beside
Yeah.
it because this was my favorite part. Whenever he's like, huge news, and Selena's like, what? Thinking it's something super important. He's like, I'm adopting a Chinese baby, and Gary in the background's like, oh,
I know.
he's so happy.
I do like how Mike turned it around like, oh, I should have said huge personal news.
Oh yeah, not the the other way around. Because like now, at the same time, the economy, or after she did that speech with the hair in the pimple, it's like the Dow Jones went down by a crazy percentage, and the economy just basically failed. And they called it Black Wednesday or something like that.
And then what was the article? Did you guys write that joke down? That like it had to do with her pimple or something? She's like, is that relating to my pimple? And so everyone's thinking now that because she just has this like horrible pimple on her face, that's why the economy's failing.
And she saw her old VP in the hallway, and he's like, hi, Madam President. She's like, did he just say zit? Because everything is about the zit at this point. But they are trying to figure out what to do about the economy, and Amy suggests that they make Tom James the economy czar. And they're going to, like, have him in charge of fixing the economy. And now, of course, Selena asks him, and he says no, because he's like, they'll kill me for this. Are you kidding me? Like, I'll get maimed for it. But then she announces that he says yes anyway.
I love, she's like, I LBJ'd you. It's just so perfect.
Because I like when she first asked him, he's like, I'm going to balance my respect for the office with my desire to not do it at all.
Exactly. I just think, she's always going to end up screwing him over. Well, not screwing him over, but she just wants to be pumped up herself.
Well, because the end of last episode, he was saying, he's like, I want to be in charge of the economy. And she's like, no, you're not.
He wanted to be like
the treasurer. Yeah. And she's like, no, you're not. And then because she realized that he could possibly become president, she hates him now.
Right.
And then wants to give him that. She wants him to fail. So
even though he's the best thing for her, but she just never can realize that.
Once she realized that she could possibly be his VP, now it's complete destruction of him and anything that he does.
Yeah. Speaking of good things for her, we see the head of the Secret Service comes in, and he says that she needs a new head agent. And they have this late agent, Palmiotti or something like that. And she is just so offended by her because they're like, well, we had to pick someone who, is like a good body double for you. So she looks exactly like you from behind. And the lady's like, yes, it's a good resemblance. Because just in case like someone ever tries to assassinate her, maybe they'll assassinate the agent instead.
I had never heard of that before. I assume it's true, but I'd never heard of that was like kind of like a qualification for who's going to be the lead agent is like just like resemblance to the actual person you're protecting.
It makes sense, I guess, but I'm like, shoot, they give up a lot of their...
I don't know if it's lead agent or was she lead agent?
She was going to be the lead agent.
So, because I've heard of body doubles, but I feel like lead agent shouldn't just be qualified on how you look.
I don't know.
But then you have to be thinking like constantly looking at the back of that person and go, is that how I look from behind?
Yeah,
that's how I look?
And Ben even mixes it up. He walks in, he's like, madam, and then it's Agent Palmiotti. And of course, Selena is very offended by this and makes her step out. She's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Because she doesn't think she looks anything like the lady, but she looks exactly
I like how
her.
she was trying to pawn it on to Gary. Like, Gary explained, like, well, she smells different.
So, But Gary, he's always there to rescue everyone.
Well, I did like Gary's creepy thing when during the interview with Candy after Amy and Selena stepped out. He goes, "So that's a really nice dress, size 2." Just all right, stop sizing me up, Gary.
He knows everything.
Literally sizing me up.
So this recount thing is huge because that could mean Selena now would be the president, and Richard, Jonah's assistant, of all people, he like steps in and he's like, oh, well, this is what happens and this is what happens, and then says he like did his thesis or something in what happens if there's a recount. And so she immediately is like, okay, you're in charge of that, and Jonah's going to help you out. Jonah's going to be your assistant. And he flips out, of course, because then Richard, he's so sweet though. Like he walks in and he doesn't at least like kick Jonah out. He's gonna let him still help, but he makes sure to keep that lumbar support in his chair.
And I do like how Jonah just equates himself to being like Harry Potter.
Oh yeah.
That's like she doesn't realize I'm like Harry Potter.
I'm like, that isn't what happens.
And where he kills all the Muggles.
Yeah.
Like no,
he doesn't kill the Muggles. He tries to save the Muggles.
Yeah. But that was just
Jonah.
such like an important moment for Jonah because Jonah was because everyone hates Jonah. And the fact that he's still like the liaison there and all this stuff, it's like, why is it like Selena literally hates him. She can get anyone else, but I mean, Jonah's character is just great. Yeah. So for him to be pushed down to like Richard's assistant, and he brings his own assistant in because he needs to be in charge of someone.
I think he'll triumph eventually.
Yeah.
Well, he hasn't in 5 seasons, so I guess we'll see.
Well, he has those minor, tiny blips of what are perceived triumph, and then he ends up just sabotaging himself.
Like whenever I think last season he got after the molestation thing, he like made it a platform. Which I guess if that's gonna happen, then that's what you're gonna do.
Yeah, exactly.
So he helps himself out.
Jonah.
But Tom is saying that he like does this rogue interview. Of course, Selena thinks everything that's not completely guided by her is rogue. He does this interview where he says, I hope they're counting all the votes of the troops across the sea, overseas. And she's like, what is he doing? He knows the military hates me. Because the military does hate her, I guess. But she's, trying to make sure that they get every single vote so that she could just end up winning. Yeah. But they're trying to like get all the news off of the economy and everything. So she's gonna do this symposium about race and about like where we're going with that and how we're making things better. And that's at the very end of the episode. But I love that she walks in and she's like, why are they all white?
Yeah.
Because of course that would be. And then Mike's freaking in the hallway, sets off the alarm.
Fitbit.
And then Sue walks in and they all aim the gun at her. Yeah. And she's like, what? I work here. Yeah. What in the world? Because of course that's just gonna happen to her and be another disastrous thing for her campaign.
Do you guys use Fitbit at all?
I don't.
No, I feel like I should, but I haven't. I don't know if do people find it useful. I mean, clearly people are wearing it, so they do find it useful.
Well, I have friends that do have it, and they aren't as obsessed as him, but they're kind of obsessed with the Fitbit. Like, they literally, like, wear it, and if they forget it, they're so upset that it didn't track their steps. And I'm like, but you still got exercise. Yeah, so why are you so freaking out about the numbers, all this competition and stuff? It's crazy.
I have an Apple Watch, and it kind of does the same thing, but it also tracks your sleep. Ooh. And so that's why I like it. But apparently I'm a terrible, restless sleeper.
Does it tell you how to fix it?
No, it just says like, you woke up 23 times last night. I'm like, yeah, tell me something I don't know.
Well, and does it tell you like how much time you spent in REM?
Uh-huh. Or it like gives you like different little levels. So everyone go get an Apple Watch. But so basically it's just she's trying to figure out all the race stuff, but then that goes terrible. And
well, when they were trying to set it up, and he says, "Oh, I'm on it like brown on rice," like already. That's what I love about the show. It's already just the inappropriateness, just at any moment.
I know. What were some of y'all's favorite lines from tonight? I wrote so many down. I'm trying to look them up.
I think the Yemenade one was the best one. I love that so much.
I know. I don't even know why I liked it so much, but I did.
Well, it's they talk about the Greeks there. It's like democracy. Well, democracy and getting effed up the butt. And Selena says, "I tried both, and they're overrated like jazz."
Oh yeah, no, that was hilarious. I wrote down so many. I'm gonna go back and look because there were a ton. Oh crap! Now I can't remember them. I don't know. I'll think of them in a few minutes. I'm sure.
And she said. She said it was a blotch on the face of America, and then she also referred to her. To Gary saying that he baked a souffle on her face.
Oh, yeah. See, I did write that one down. I can't even read my own notes here. But that's what it kind of looks like. It's like taking over. Oh, this is what I'm forgetting. I forgot about our boy Dan.
Dan, yeah.
So he gets fired from his job because they say they're going to focus just on O'Brien. Mm-hmm. But Amy's there to save the day, and as soon as she gets the Nevada job, she calls him to help out.
Yeah, you have exactly 0 seconds to consider this.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Well, because he wanted to be like a normal TV, like a regular TV correspondent.
Right. Yeah.
And I love that the guy's response back to him was like, if you basically help a candidate win that has no chance of winning, then you're able to be on the panel, like saying like all these other slangs and stuff.
But otherwise, she pretty much sucked.
Well, no. I did like when he does get fired. He gets fired through text right there in the very same room.
Oh, yeah.
And then he tries to respond and he misspells at the end, quib instead of quit.
Yeah.
Which it's always the worst when you're trying to like do like some kind of witty response or get somebody back on a text and then you misspell it. You're like,
I do that all the time. Or like if I'm making a really good point in an argument or something, and then I go back and read later. I'm like, really? I completely misspelled that.
Yeah.
Or when you send a wink face instead of a smiley face, and then you're like, God.
That's like the kiss of death.
I did that today to like a work friend, and I was like, oh no, I'm not. I didn't realize it till later. I was like, I'm not winking at you.
Do you have to like respond back? And
I did. I put the smiley with like the asterisk. I corrected it. I had to correct it. I was like, I'm not winking at you.
I didn't mean to wink at you.
Nope, I don't want. Yeah.
But overall, a great first episode. It's hilarious. We were cracking up the entire time, as always. What about some predictions for the season?
Well, I think
now, your AFTERBUZZ TV prediction.
I always end up talking before we say it.
Yeah. Well, I just think what we kind of spoke about earlier, something with Catherine's video is gonna happen, gonna get out. And I don't know, do you guys think that, like, I mean, this is very early prediction. Do you think she's gonna win or no? What are we thinking right now?
Well, it's already picked up for 6th season, for sure. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know which is the more humorous thing. It'll be, like you said, the title of the show's Veep, so her not being Veep. But then it seems like a step back to have her put back in the Veep position again.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's like they could go, honestly, I don't know. I keep going back and forth. Like, as the minutes go on, I'm like, oh, it'd be hilarious for her to be Veep. But then I'm like, but look at what she would get into as president. But I feel like they'll make her president because, it, just like you said, it is a step back.
Yeah.
But I think that it could also be like a hilarious thing to watch her go through becoming Veep again.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
I
my
think
prediction is that I don't know.
See, okay. I'm kind of in the same boat, but
Or
I
I
think
would
she's
say
going to be
president.
president. I think
Yeah.
she's going to be president.
Yeah, I think it works out because then I feel like then you at least know you have like 4. You could potentially have 4 more seasons.
Yeah.
I don't think Selena is that good that she can get reelected for a second term.
No.
I can't imagine that.
No. At
Yeah.
least she's not going to be the 8-month president, though.
No.
No.
Potentially not.
But
if she
I
wins,
feel like
yeah.
she's gonna win like off of something like a fluke. Like
Yeah.
obviously she's not gonna just win by a landslide now. You know
Or
what
it's
I
going
mean?
to be a crazy recount.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. So much that could potentially happen, but I'm so excited to be on this panel. Thank y'all for joining us. As always, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at April Whisenhant.
And you can find me at Nadine DP in the number 3.
And you can follow me on Twitter at HappyGoJackie.
Be sure to follow us all at AfterBuzz TV on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, everywhere, and comment. Let us know what your favorite parts were, and we will see y'all next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.